Hey everybody, this is Joe.
And this is Jenna.
From Fantastic Reviews, bringing you this week's In Case You Missed It, covering the stories that happen over the course of the week in movies, video games, TV, and comics that you might have missed. Up first this week, Uncharted 4 is getting a lengthy DLC story called The Lost Legacy. It takes place about 6 months after the end of Uncharted 4, and it's going to cover Chloe and Nadine as they search for the Tusk of Ganesh in India, I believe is the setting.
Which is pretty cool. I happen to like the Uncharted series, and by that I mean I like watching him play the Uncharted series. And I'm excited for more stories in that world. The only downfall I see right now is that it's pricing in at $39.99. So it's $40 for a DLC, which for 10 plus hours isn't so bad, except when you look at it, a full game is $60.
It's a little much.
Pricey.
I would see a better price point for something like that to be around maybe like $25. 40 does seem a little bit over, but Naughty Dog does a really good job of doing their art, and they have the voice actors, they have the motion capture actors all involved in it, and with this lengthy of a story, you know, maybe they felt it was justified, but I don't know.
I'm very sure that the price is going to be worth it. I just don't know that it'll be something we'll get when it comes out. Just it's a little bit on the higher side when we could use that money to buy an entirely new game.
There's no doubt that Naughty Dog does an excellent job at storyboarding and art. We've seen that in the Uncharted series. We've seen that in The Last of Us. I mean, these games are masterpieces.
They are.
And it's really more about the story, too. Like, they said that they were considering doing a DLC for Uncharted for a while, but they felt like it would pretty much evolve into its own game because they like to really go in depth with the story.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're seeing come out here. Like I said, though, $40 does seem a little bit much for 10. They were saying around 10 hours for about a 10-hour DLC. I'd like to see it somewhere more in the range of like 25, but you know, we'll see how well it performs, and that'll probably be a gauge for the future.
And this one too, it's supposed to be an open environment sort of game, which is slightly different from the games we've had so far in the Uncharted series. They'll have similar graphics and geography, but it's going to be more of an open environment. You can explore more, which you can really explore a lot in the Uncharted series. So maybe that's where the price point goes up a little bit for something like that.
You'll see a lot of the same gameplay. You'll see a lot of the same combat mechanics. But they are saying it is going to be totally different from Uncharted 4. And what that actually means, we can't really say. They haven't really said too much about it. We'll just have to see when the release date comes out, which is August 22nd in the US and August 23rd in Europe.
Up next, we did get word on our next Fantastic Beasts movie. Jude Law is going to be young Dumbledore when that comes out. So that's an interesting casting choice. David Yates is returning to direct, and Eddie Redmayne is going to be back as Newt Scamander. Scamander. Whatever. Names! Even fictional ones don't work for me. I'm reading it. It's not working. But and Johnny Depp will be back as Grindelwald. And then we're going to get young Dumbledore. So I'm super excited to see that relationship play out between Grindelwald and Dumbledore and see where that goes.
It's lining up to be another fantastic cast.
Yeah, it really is. Although I am a little concerned on Johnny Depp's end of it. He might go a little too Johnny Depp into it. Not that you're bad, Johnny Depp. I super love you. You're great in almost every movie I've ever seen you in. But you're very much Johnny Depp sometimes, and I don't know how that's going to work out.
I think he does great in everything. I mean, we did not actually see much of Johnny Depp in the first one. He was only in it for a few flashes.
It's true. So we'll see what happens, but I'm a little bit with him against Jude Law. I don't know what's going to happen there. I feel it's going to be very British for some reason, which doesn't make any sense.
Sure it does.
Johnny Depp is not British, but he plays that a lot, I feel. It's going to be a lot of we're having tea while we discuss how we're going to kill each other kind of thing. I don't know. That's my interpretation of it. So
as far as the role that Dumbledore is going to play, he is still a professor at Hogwarts at this point. He has not been made headmaster or whatever it is they call him.
No, he's just professor right now.
Not much more is known outside the story other than J.K. Rowling is doing the screenplay for the second one as she did for the first one. All we really know about it is that it's a darker time in the wizarding world, and Newt Scamander and his group is going to have to figure out which side of the spectrum they fall on.
Right. I mean, it is going to take place before the Wizarding War, so this is kind of a build-up to, I mean, Grindelwald, of course, and then we'll be coming into, I assume, Voldemort at some point, maybe or towards the tail end of it, before he gets defeated. But we'll see how all of that plays out. The release date for this is November 2018.
Yep.
Yep. No?
November 16th, 2018.
I said November. You get 2 weeks in there. It's November 2018.
The first one did really good in the box office. It had over $800 million in box office revenue. It's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, somewhere in the 70-80% range.
Is anyone really surprised it's a Harry Potter movie? They certainly do very well.
Well, you can't really ride the coattails of one franchise going into another. You can't really base it on that. But what this says, what these numbers say, is that not only, I mean, the Harry Potter franchise is obviously beloved.
Yeah.
But what these numbers say is that it's not just riding on Harry Potter's merits; it now has its own, and we should see more of the same in the sequel.
Well, it helps that J.K. Rowling is very heavily involved in all of it.
Yes.
And that the writing is, I mean, they're not trying to create something new. They're basing it off of the world she already built. So it's not alienating old fans and it's not alienating new fans. It's just a nice, bright, new, shiny, horrible world that we're going to get involved in with a war. So, but I'm excited for that.
And they've got, I think like 5 more of these planned, so be ready to be emotionally involved. Next up this week, Labyrinth 2 gets its director in Federico Alvarez. This is the same director who directed Don't Breathe and 2013's revival of The Evil Dead.
As much as we hated Don't Breathe, because everyone in that movie was ridiculously stupid, the remake of Evil Dead was a fantastic horror film. It was nothing like the original, and that's completely fine. It was a horror film on its own, and that's what it was meant to be, and it was great. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with a Labyrinth movie. It's not going to be a reboot or anything. It's going to be a separate, original story set in the same universe. What that means, I have no idea, because we really didn't explore the universe when we got the first movie.
But we do know that the Goblin King is not going to be in it.
I wouldn't expect that he would. One, there is no David Bowie now.
And you can't replace
David Bowie. And 2, I would assume they probably wouldn't go with a Goblin King angle if this is an entirely new story. So I'm excited to see what happens. I assume we'll probably be exploring more of if this is what it might be, the fairy universe kind of thing. Because if he's a goblin, maybe he's part of like the dark fairies. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So I'm excited to see what that'll bring, because he definitely has a more horror bent on it than fantastical, I think.
We don't really know what we're going to get out of this movie, but we do know that it might be delayed a little bit because the director and the writer who are signed on for this are currently working on projects that have not yet finished up. So as soon as those projects finish up, we do expect them to move forward with Labyrinth. It has already been greenlit.
On our last bit of news today is that Cable has been cast for Deadpool 2. Josh Brolin is going to be playing Cable. How do you feel about that?
I think it's good because Josh Brolin has been known as kind of like the scruffy, rough and tumble kind of guy.
He has.
We've already seen him as Thanos in a couple of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. He's about to take front and center in Infinity Wars. So I really don't know much about Josh Brolin outside of that.
He looks good for the part.
Yeah, he definitely looks the part of Cable.
I mean, take the purple away from when he's Thanos.
And it's kind of funny because Josh Brolin was a complete surprise contender. Like, I don't think anybody really saw this coming.
I was certainly hoping for Keira Knightley.
I didn't think that was going to happen from the beginning.
I was pretty sure it wasn't, but I had my hopes. I'm like, maybe. She's got some rage. Who knows? We'll see what she does.
But it comes as a surprise because Josh Brolin, as we know, is signed on to be Thanos for 4 films. Like, full feature, not just like...
Not just his appearance.
Here's a picture of him. Oh, here's another picture of him, and he sent a line in this one. No, he's gonna be straight up Thanos in the movie the whole time. 4 of them.
Which I'm assuming Infinity Wars is probably going to start that.
Yeah.
Which means that the ones previous to Infinity Wars have just been his cameos in. So he's not, those aren't included in what's happening so far. Unless maybe they include Guardians of the Galaxy in that, but he was only in it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, not even.
So they probably aren't including that in his feature-length movies that he's actually going to be the big bad in. Because you can't defeat Thanos. You just make him go away for a little bit. So I'm assuming that he's gonna start in that, which means he's got quite a commitment to the Marvel movies so far. But Deadpool might be falling in between those, between shoots. So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
But exciting all around. Very excited for the possibilities of things. We've got Labyrinth, maybe. It's greenlit, but who knows when it's coming. We've got Labyrinth. We've got Josh Brolin here as Cable for Deadpool 2, which comes out, I think, in 2018, 2019. 2018, they're estimating. It hasn't started yet, so who knows. Mm-hmm. And then we were getting another Fantastic Beasts. And to take up more of our time, eventually, will be Uncharted.
So what do you guys think of any of the stories that we went over this week? Let us know in the comments below what you think, if you agree, if you disagree, and if there's anything else that you'd like to see us cover.
Yep. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And, harass us on there. Let us know what things we got wrong this week, what things you'd like to see us cover. And just give us a shout out.
Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel.
Every week we come up here and we tell you what you missed. And then all of you go, we already knew this. Why are you rehashing?
Well, that'll about do it for us this week. We'll see you next time.
Bye, Internet.